I have been selling this book, Zan Azli and Wan Chun Hong's Guide to Indie Filmmaking, which is published by MPH. For a while now. It's a really good book if you want to be a filmmaker, whether it's for YouTube, social media, TV, film, cinema, whatever. This is the book to get. I'm going to make it more accessible and more affordable to all of you because I believe that everybody needs to become a filmmaker. The more filmmakers we have in the world, I think this world will be a better place to live in. Now it's available as an electronic book download on my website. I'm going to link it here. It's really cheap, it's really affordable. It's only 5 ringgit if you want to get the ebook version. Okay, 5 ringgit. It doesn't really cost much, right? It's just a little bit of something for me. I mean, it did take a lot of work to write. Each chapter of this book talks about one part of the filmmaking process. And for each chapter as well, I interview a local filmmaker. It's only 5 ringgit. It's only 5 ringgit. You're watching and listening to the Fat Bidin Film Club, and I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
And I'm Shal Bustawan.
And as usual, every week we watch a local film and we review it. And this week, we're going to review a local film that is on Disney Hotstar. It's called
Zombitopia.
Okay,
we watched
the
Zombitopia.
film. Zombitopia. First and foremost, we have to make a full disclosure that Mingjin is my buddy. He's my friend. We made our first feature film together. He was the director and I was the producer, which went to the Berlin Film Festival. Right? Yeah. So we both cut our teeth on our first feature film together, right? I've known him for a very long time. He's known me for a very long time. I respect him. He's a good filmmaker. I've seen many of his films. He's a guy who, in Malaysia, I would kind of like equate to kind of like Steven Soderbergh. I mean, I'm not saying he's as good as Steven Soderbergh, maybe better. But I'm just saying, like Steven Soderbergh, he does his art films and then he does his really mainstream films like the Ocean's 11s and the 12s and the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But he also does his artsy, fartsy films, like the one about the mannequins in the factory. I don't know lah, but I've seen, so it's like that. So he kind of has been able to find that balance lah. So he's made Zombitopia.
He made Zombitopia,
which I would say falls under the mainstream category.
Okay.
Right, one of his mainstream category films lah. Okay. He's done KL Zombie, by the way, which was a mainstream film in the cinemas as well.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the disclosure that I wanted to make here.
Okay.
Alright.
It's gonna be very interesting when you talk about the film.
No, but really, I mean, just my buddy. So it's gonna be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Alright.
Okay, you wanna tell us what the film's about?
Okay, so Zombitopia is about this dude played by Shaizi Sam, whose name I can't remember right now, the Melayu dude, who basically there was a first zombie apocalypse where people were infected by zombies, and that was when Shaizi Sam's character, who was then a boy, sort of lost his family.
You mean he transitioned
and then
to a girl?
No, because then later on he becomes a man.
I'm joking.
Why don't you just do these reviews alone?
Go on.
Before I was rudely interrupted by my asshole husband, I was saying that okay, so now Shaizi Sam's a grown up. He survived the first zombie apocalypse, which I guess wasn't very apocalyptic because there's still a world, I guess. And then he sort of becomes friends with Hassan, who's played by Azman Hassan, who has also lost like his wife, I guess, in the first apocalypse. But he doesn't seem to remember that his wife has died. And then they like collect scrap metal or something. They're surviving lah. And then suddenly, bam, there's a second zombie apocalypse, which is brought about by the guy who cured the first zombie apocalypse, who's a doctor played by Bron Pelare. So Bron Pelare feels like he's been forgotten as a Malaysian hero or discarded, so he decided to take it out on the Malaysian people. and unleash another apocalypse. So
He unleashed the apocalypse.
yeah, he like started infecting people who then
Because he wanted
infected
to
other
he wanted to
because he was
test whatever.
angry. No, because he was angry at the Malaysians because
Alright.
he forgot about him.
But I thought he was also trying to like find a way to cure his daughter who was infected.
But he found the cure the first time,
Then why did
That's how he stopped the apocalypse.
But then how come the daughter was never
I
cured?
don't know. So anyway, that was my understanding of the film, lah. Okay.
Yeah, there are
Anyway,
many understandings of the
so
film.
now there's the second zombie apocalypse, and then Shahizi Sam is like basically thrown in the middle of it, and yeah. So that's the film, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then
So
on to the review.
on to the review.
Great actors.
It's a nice way of starting.
No, really. I thought that this film, it has all of my favorite actors in Malaysia. Shahizi Sam is great. I mean, I love Police Evo, right? And he's great in Police Evo. You know, oh, the muscles and the muscles. And he's also muscular here. And there's Azman Hassan, my all-time favorite non-hero hero.
Who doesn't really stay very long in the
Yeah.
show, but never mind.
There's Braun. We all like Braun, right?
Braun is very nice to look at.
Yeah, it's a star-studded cast. Well, I don't know if it's star-studded, but definitely good performers who have proven to be good performers, right, in film. But the film
I
itself,
don't know. I think they also perform well in this film.
Oh yes, I thought so. Shahizi Sam,
He was very tortured and very,
Braun Palare
very
also.
true to his tortured, traumatized.
And Braun Palare, the way he
persona.
delivers his lines as an
He was a
evil
very nice
doctor,
villain.
evil genius maniac, you know.
I like that.
Yeah, Azman Hassan, he's
Not
always
enough
troubled
Azman
look,
Hassan, but
we wish there was
also
more of
okay,
Azman
quite
Hassan.
good.
Yeah. But the
Okay.
film itself, the story itself, I don't know. I didn't think it was Ming Jin's best work, lah. Ming Jin, sorry, it's not his best work. I've seen a lot of his films. His films has been to Cannes. His films has been to many top tier festivals. I've seen many of them. They're all really good. Even the mainstream. I watched KL Zombie. It was great. It was very entertaining. This one fell short. It was.
Why?
It was a little bit disconnected, the story, and scenes that were happening in the film also sometimes didn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, I understand the what, the suspending of belief or something like that. What do you say? Suspension of belief, because it's a zombie movie. It's not real anyway, but it doesn't pull you in.
But now you're already cutting into the later part that we wanted to discuss. So I guess we should blend it in.
Yeah, we can blend it in. There's an issue, right? There's an issue here.
For some context to the suspension of disbelief, after we watched the film, actually, we discovered that there was some issue happening. Where, basically, it all started with our fellow reviewer bro Zaflog reviewed Zombitopia, and then Ming Jin went on a podcast, and he said that reviewers like Zaf will only say good things if they're paid. And then he basically went on to sort of defend his film on this podcast, because the people on this podcast had also written a review about his film, and
it was a negative
it wasn't
review.
favorable.
It wasn't a very favorable
He basically
review.
went on that podcast to defend this film to the death,
Yeah.
which was not very pleasant to listen to lah, actually.
It was-
So anyway,
Yes.
okay, so we tried not to let those opinions influence our opinion of the film.
No. Yeah.
They didn't really influence our opinion of the film, and I feel like it really goes back to, in reviewing this film, it really goes back to what we always talk about, where you cannot if you need to explain your film, then it's not like a good film.
If you need to explain your film outside of the film.
Yeah, then it's not a good film. If you're constantly like, if you are explaining like things like, oh, it's because it's like this because of like a suspension of disbelief, or it's like this because I wanted to portray it like this, and people don't get it in the film itself, then the film as a standalone is probably not a very good film, because it doesn't deliver the message that you want it to deliver.
Because the suspension of disbelief needs to happen without people realizing it.
Yeah.
If you have to make people realize it, then it's not much of a suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, and if you are, I guess, flagging it and outrightly like marking it, then it's also difficult lah. So why didn't we like the film?
Okay, so like, do you want to go? Why you don't like the film?
Okay. Well, the film felt like a lot of action and CGI, but then very little else of anything. So it was very, like you said, disconnected. It was very disjointed. It's supposed to be the story of this person who has survived a zombie apocalypse before, but then he seems to react really badly in the second zombie apocalypse. Like, almost as if, people who have survived the first lockdown and then don't know how to do like a second or third lockdown. Wonder where that's familiar. But anyway,
it should be a very relatable film, isn't it?
It should be a very relatable film.
Yeah.
So it was very relatable in the sense that, he seems to also not know what to do in this second apocalypse. I was kind of willing to excuse that because I thought, maybe the first one he was like a child.
Yeah, and you get triggered, right? Traumatized.
So, you're
or whatever.
triggered, you're traumatized. Maybe that's why you don't know how to react. But like simple survival skills also, like a bit don't know, like a bit cannot lah. And later on we find out that he actually is immune. He's carrying a gene that's immune to zombie bites.
So zombie
the
can
zombie
bite
can
him and
literally
attack
tear
him,
him apart.
he will be
Flesh
okay.
and everything, and he's like all good.
Yeah, not only is he immune from turning into a zombie, but his wounds heal really, really fast too.
Yeah, almost
he's like X-Men, like Wolverine. Yeah.
Which also,
But that was the point because the Bron Palare's character wanted to get the sample of his blood.
Yeah, of his blood to figure out how to cure this apocalypse.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of weird. Like, so he infected everybody again, and then he wants to cure everybody. Oh, because he was selling the cure. He was selling the cure to a foreign country, a foreign power. And that was how he was gonna like take his daughter and start a new life because, okay, fine. So it wasn't that he was gonna cure us, it was just that he wanted it for the highest bidder. Which, okay. So the film felt to me like it was trying to be parallel to what reality really is now, but considering it was made so long ago, I guess we can't really say that. It's just that it so happens to have come out in a time where it is a bit parallel to the current reality.
No, it's okay because like Prebet Sapu also was made before the MCO, but now is the MCO, it's relatable.
Yeah, so it is sort of parallel to the reality now, but it doesn't deliver well, or it isn't showcased well. It is kind of peppered with a lot of CGI. It's peppered with a lot of CGI, and then it's
bad CGI.
It kind of gets a bit confusing, and it basically I felt wasn't very well executed lah. It was a bit messy. Yeah, messy would be the word. It's a bit messy. It doesn't. Not to say that it doesn't follow a linear storyline, but there's no like real development of the character. So like the entire theme of it is like survival of the zombies, survival from the zombies and everything. But you don't really feel that. And there's even a small segment where like there's a bunch of zombies that are being taken care of by a human. And it's supposed to be like a little bit emotional and supposed to invoke like some feelings in you, but every element, every step of the way sort of fell short for me. So it just ended up with me feeling really nothing for it, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I felt like there was I didn't know what it was about. It started out, the context and the the premise of the story had potential. It was interesting, about these characters and why they're there and all that. But then as the story went on, I didn't know what it was about. I seriously didn't know what the story was about. And there were scenes that were just so absurd, like the dinosaur scene, the bridge scene, the bridge where he's just going back and forth, being attacked by the zombies without having to screen up his window. Why? And then the dinosaur and all that. Now, of course, we listened to Ming Jin explain his film.
Yeah.
We also watch other reviewers review the film.
Okay.
The sense of disbelief is, I don't know. Fine, the filmmaker can do anything he wants in the film. Have a turning point which kind of catches the audience by surprise or whatever, plot twist and all that, isn't it? That's totally fine. I mean, I don't think that is like a scamming the audience or anything like that, right? It's the right of the director or the filmmaker, but the filmmaker needs to understand that it should work, right? I like a lot of absurd movies, right? Like Sikit Punya Gila. Have you seen Sikit Punya Gila? That movie has no point either. It has no point. But it's a fun movie. You watch it till the end. You enjoy the characters. You enjoy the scenes. You enjoy the jokes. You know, Pineapple Express.
But it's made to be absurd.
Yeah.
And thus made well.
Ah.
This film, was it supposed to be made to be absurd? Because it didn't seem like it.
Yeah. Whether it's absurd or not absurd, number one, it's zombies already. It's not supposed to be real.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to kind of like get bought into you need to buy into the film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like watching 28 Days Later. It's absurd, like zombies take over London.
No, but even then, like this film, right? It was about zombies, sure, but it was also about this guy, and it was supposed to be about this guy like surviving the first one, and then now being in the second one, and we didn't really get to go on that journey. Also, I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So then, can you really consider that it was supposed to be like an absurd film when it actually had like a character that was supposed to, I don't know, grow or go on like some adventure, journey, survival, whatever, but then didn't.
What was that movie?
That's what I'm saying.
The movie with Ben Stiller, the one where he acts as a model.
It starts with Z, right?
Yeah.
Sona, something.
And then he tries to kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia or something like that in the movie. Yeah. Not Zootopia.
Yeah, but that movie.
Zoolander. That's absurd. But you want to see his growth as well as a character, even though it's comedic. You know what I mean?
I feel like this film was not made to be intentionally absurd. It was supposed to be in this unrealistic reality with the zombies and everything, but it wasn't made necessarily in the direction of being absurd.
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. But then it came out absurd because of how poorly it was delivered.
Yeah, and then and so on and so forth on social media, things blew up between film critics and filmmakers.
So let's address these two things.
Yeah.
Number one about the bridge, and number two about the dinosaur. So both of these points that have been brought up by many reviewers and also now brought up by you, Mingjin defends by saying it's a film where, you know, the reality is like, you know, it's supposed to be a suspension of reality. So then technically he can like, and this, I'm not quoting him directly lah, but paraphrasing, it's sort of like it's the filmmaker's agency to do whatever the filmmaker wants. So it's like, why not a zombie in the film? Why not, you know? And then
Dinosaur.
like this bridge thing, you know, people are saying logically you would like wind up the windows. You know, why didn't you wind up the windows? Hassan didn't have to die. He didn't have to like run into like the zombies and everything. And then Mingjin's like, well, yeah, but that's what he did. So why not? You know, you cannot expect people to always just act the way you expect them to act. Then you're just telling the filmmaker how to make the film.
Yeah.
But are we really telling the filmmaker how to make the film, or we're just asking logical questions here? Like, in a logical battle of survival, like, would you not do these logical things? Like, why would you run into a herd of zombies with a crowbar or whatever it was? Like, why? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
And like, Shaizi Sam not winding up the windows the first time, and then like you said, going back and forth on the bridge. Why? But then again, I guess in situations of trauma or whatever, people do also act illogically. So was that what he was trying to portray? Because from the interviews, it doesn't seem like it lah. It just seems like he's just saying, I can do whatever I want with my film. Which is okay, fair. But you also cannot scold people for questioning the logic lah.
Yeah, like you can do whatever you want. Because, okay, coming from a filmmaker's perspective, I made lots of films. Mingjin has told me my films suck before. Right? Many people have told me my films suck. If they suck. And if they're good lah. You know? And one thing that I have learned, right? I mean, we spoke about film criticism before. Remember the one with Shamsul Yusof and all that, right? As a filmmaker, once your film is done, and this is my perspective, and you put it out there, you cannot control how the audience perceives it anymore. It's organic in that sense.
Yeah.
A film then is let out there and it becomes like it obtains a life of its own.
Yeah.
And audiences from different places, different contexts, different cultural backgrounds, different beliefs or whatever will interpret it
differently.
Totally different. A Malaysian audience will see it totally different than a Chinese audience in China. An Italian audience will see it totally different from a Canadian audience.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to let the audience react however they want to react. If you want them to also allow you to make the film however you want to make it.
Yeah, it's like
You
let
know?
the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
Because you put it out there, yeah lah.
And one thing that I have learned is to never go head on with the critics. It's not a good idea. It's not healthy lah. Because not that because the critics are going to tear you apart. No, it's not one group is better than the other.
But
But
isn't
it's
it
just
just-
this is not it. People
Yeah.
want to. It's subjective.
Which he
right?
also said.
Yeah.
He also said it's subjective.
Everybody has
Yeah.
subjective opinions, even professional critics.
Yeah.
You know, and criticism is always subjective.
Yeah.
No matter what field, whether it's art, photography, literature, film, it's just that. Even food critics also, it's subjective.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
here's another point that Mingjin brought up specifically about the dinosaur. He says, if Hollywood had created a film like this that was absurd with zombies and a dinosaur, people wouldn't critique it because it's Hollywood. But when Malaysians do it, we don't celebrate it as much. And then he went on to say that Malaysians are always out to shoot down Malaysian films and we don't support our Malaysian film scene. And then how are filmmakers then supposed to, make Malaysian films? Okay, so I really feel like this argument about if Hollywood do it, we would accept it and we would say it's okay is kind of moot because again, number one, it's subjective. But I personally would not accept. If it's bad, it's bad lah. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's bad. So like, for example, Michael Bay's Transformers.
It's horrible.
All of it is bad, and it even got to the point where it was like literally absurd. And now, like even the Jurassic World series, Jurassic Park was great, but the new Jurassic Worlds that have come up where they make like a theme park and then they use dinosaurs' DNA to make a mega dinosaur that can camouflage itself and evade your heat sensors and all that kind of thing as in intelligent. That's already bullshit.
None of the Jurassic Park series were good except for the first one.
And I don't buy into that. So I don't think it's fair to just say that people are penalizing you or penalizing your idea because you're Malaysian or because you're local. I do agree that the Malaysian film scene doesn't get a lot of support, but it is also unfair to say that it gets no support at all and only because they are Malaysian films. This example also has been brought up many times by many reviewers, particularly in this context, but Rogue got support from a lot of people,
including us.
And it was a really good film. It was very simply made, and we supported it because it was a good film. So it's the same like other Malaysian films. Like all of Yasmin Ahmad's films also got really good support,
Not
and they
really,
have been
only by
lah.
certain circles
Half
only.
lah.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make here is the film, it doesn't suck because it's Malaysian. It sucks because it's a bad film. And as a filmmaker, I think one of the things we need to accept sometimes is to gracefully accept that lah. If that is the public opinion, you cannot tell the public. You cannot firstly victimize yourself and then tell the public that they are wrong because they are entitled to their opinion. And who did you make this film for? Again, it comes back to that. Like the same thing that we talked about in our Shamsul Yusuf argument. Who is this film made for? Is it made for everybody or is it just made for the people who will tell you that this film is good?
Like a lot of Shamsul's films, a lot of people like it. I mean, I don't like it. Some, but like I don't like it. Then I just assume that he's not making it for a target audience like me.
Yeah.
But he's successful because he achieved his objective because he made it for his target audience and his target audience loves it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a good filmmaker already lah. So I know, and again, maybe different people like the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe there are people out there who like the movie and they will say it as it is.
Yeah, he
But-
said.
and okay lah.
Yeah, so he said, Mingjin said that the film was pretty well received in foreign markets.
Okay.
But just didn't
That's
do well
great,
in
yeah.
Malaysia. So maybe then it's just not made for a Malaysian audience. So it again comes down to who is this film made for?
Yeah.
From the podcast interview and from the reactions to the reviewers and to the critics, it really feels to me like the film was made for himself, which is also fine.
Which is fine. Like I make films for myself too.
Which is fine. But
Yeah.
then
you got to
think-
realize that
yeah.
people will perceive it differently lah.
Yeah, and then being defensive over how people react to your film is a bit not classy lah.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I'm not for that.
But I have to add, because Mingjin is a friend, I don't know Mingjin as somebody like that. All this while also, we've always watched films, and we talk about films, and we watch each other's films, friends' films and all that. We criticize, we don't criticize, we say good things, we say bad things. But as filmmakers, we've always agreed that we take what we want to take in order to improve ourselves and ignore what we want to ignore.
Okay,
right?
so when you listened to the podcast as his friend, you heard everything he said at verbatim. How did you feel about that?
It's not what we have been like all this while. Yeah. Well, don't know. We should actually get Mingjin on. But Mingjin, do you want to come on? Maybe I'll text you. You can. But I don't know if you've already felt like speaking on the podcast was already your say. Then maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Let us know. To be continued.
Yeah, no, because seriously, right? I have to say, 90% of Mingjin's films I like, and they're good, right? Yeah. So.
But you're still not addressing everything that happened on the podcast, like how he reacted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I'm surprised because this is something that we've never talked about. As in, not talked about, but never talked about that way. We know what critics are like. How films are criticized and all that, right? And as filmmakers, we take, like I said, we take what we want to take, we ignore what we want to ignore, but we don't come out defending things that we know is subjective. People have a right to their opinions. And it seems to be like drawing a clear line between filmmakers and film lovers and film critics and people who just enjoy films for the sake of that, And what about people like me, you? We make films and we also criticize films, right? I teach film. Mingjin used to teach film as well, So it's talking about being open-minded, right? Everybody on every point of view needs to be open-minded, lah. From all perspectives, all parties need to be open-minded and understand that it is just subjective, right? Yeah.
And I think, particularly in this context, filmmakers can do better to sort of handle it lah. Yeah, because this was not, I felt, handled well. It was it was very almost crass, and it was not a way to really openly discuss a film. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so would you tell people to watch the film? If you have Disney Plus,
I would.
Hotstar.
If you have Disney Plus Hotstar, you already paid for your monthly subscriptions. I'd recommend watching the first 20 minutes. and then imagine how it goes on after that with your own perspective and your own imagination.
Okay, so if you have a Disney Plus Hotstar subscription and small children, I highly recommend watching the last 20 minutes.
Why?
Because our 2-year-old son was so engaged
with the dinosaur.
The last 20 minutes.
Is it with
and
the dinosaur?
He was so happy to see a dinosaur.
Yeah, because he loves dinosaurs.
And he loves dinosaurs, and he was just like so upset when the dinosaur was not on screen anymore. So that's my recommendation. So I guess we just leave out the middle part of the movie lah. Skip through that, depending on how old the people in your house is.
Yeah.
But yeah, or you could actually just watch the whole film and then let us know if you agree with Mingjin, or if you agree with Zaf, or if you agree with us. Or basically just let us know what you think about the film lah.
Yeah, and look, you can agree with anyone. It's okay.
I was just gonna say, because we're open to all opinions.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
right.
Some film reviews and some films I hardcore have a stand on, and I will fight you if you say that you feel like sexism and racism should be in films. But this one in particular, I have no opinions. I'm cool. Just let me know what you think.
Yeah, and Mingjin, it's been a long time since we wanted our kids to come together for a play date. We're gonna make that happen after the MCO. Even though our planning was before the MCO.
If Mingjin still wants to be friends with you after this review.
Look, Mingjin and I go way back lah. Right? Yeah. Like I said, we are never attacking any of the filmmakers.
We're not.
We never do.
Okay.
Yeah, we never do. Yeah, and we're friends with a lot of these filmmakers.
Some of them, yes.
Yeah. And we're friends with Zaf too. Zaf, I highly respect his opinions about films.
Since Zaf is going to go with video, I'm not friends with Bidin.
No, but really, Yeah. Okay, so that's it.
Yeah, but no, when it comes to Zaf, just small note before we end. I don't feel like Zaf is the kind of person that would say nice things just because he gets money for it. Yeah, he's way more brutal with his film reviews, the ones that I've seen anyway. And he's like very straight to the point, very cutthroat, very honest. So he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that could be bought lah. So just putting it out there.
And he has a right to do so.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he has a right to say whatever he wants, his opinions about any film. Again, it's subjective.
Yeah.
It's totally subjective.
Yeah. So yeah, like this video, don't like this video.
Subscribe to our channel
Follow us on all our social media at
FatBidin, or go to fatbidin.com to get everything.
everything.
You've been watching and listening to the Fat Bidin Film Club. I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
And I'm Shal Ustawan.